The legacy of Captain Sir Tom Moore and his charity has been damaged by his own family, as his daughter tried to use the donations received from the general public to make herself CEO on an unnecessarily big salary. What a sad world we're living in. That we have a situation where Captain Sir Tom Moore, who during the first lockdown had this idea, massive gesture, to raise funds for the nurses and doctors of our healthcare system, which creates a sadder situation that we need people to actually raise more money for NHS nurses and doctors because of the fact that the system is so outdated and poorly run, the NHS, that you need someone to actually raise more money for that. Because the more politicians just inject more finances into it using our taxpayers' money, the money gets lost. We don't even know what happens to that money. So that's why you have someone like Captain Sir Tom Moore to kind of create this movement, and they raised millions of pounds during the first lockdown as a thank you to give some money, extra money to NHS doctors and nurses. But then in reality, when charities get big, they become bureaucratic and it becomes a bit complicated. We understand that big charities like Oxfam and all the other commies, when they are so huge, they're like corporations, they end up recruiting executives and people to run them, and they have to give them a lot of money to attract them to that job. But this foundation, which is a new foundation, yes, they've raised millions of pounds. Was that really appropriate for his daughter, Hannah, to try to make herself CEO on other people's money on a salary of £150,000, allegedly? So when the Board of Trustees were approached by multi-journalists, independent, the chair said, well, the decision to make an application for consent to appoint Hannah in a temporary role as interim CEO was made by the independent trustees, who then undertook the assessment for the salary and everything else. So they said it was supposed to be an interim role, temporary role, and also it was independently sorted out. But then when the same press went back and said, we found out more about the story, that apparently she actually, before that, she was trying to go for a permanent role of CEO. She was going for that. What happened to that? And it was supposed to be a big salary, 6 figures. That they got into trouble over that in terms of clarification and denying it. And it doesn't really matter anymore about the details because it's about the image. It's about the legacy. And when you know that big charities are already been undermined, when you have the British, the Heart Foundation or Oxfam running left-wing socialist campaigns instead of just actually doing charity, that's one example. Robin Hood tax. Robin Hood tax being promoted by Oxfam, the Heart Foundation, all these guys. Why? When you get the commies involved, and then you get all the the CEOs and all the executives being recruited and use people's money to pay for the management, what happens to the actual money that's supposed to be going for the cause itself? That's why some big charities have become corrupt or completely incompetent, let's just say. The money gets lost. We don't even know what happened. The bureaucracy gets so big. And I was hoping when this foundation was created that at least it's a new independent foundation. It could become slightly more transparent and more competent. Well, clearly that's not really how it works in the charity world, the big charity world. Always support small independent charities and, ideally speaking, directly if you know people in need. Because not to discourage people in terms of supporting big charities, but be careful. There needs to be some scrutiny. There needs to be some accountability. Because, as I always say, size matters. And big is bad. Whether it's big government, big business, or big charities. Smaller, the better, the easier to manage. On that note, thanks again for watching. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Tousi and we are the media.